Good evening, dear brothers and sisters. Again, we are with the article written by Father Rolheiser. Our heart is stronger than our wounds, from the Catholic Register. 2 years before his death in 1996, Henry Newman was beset by depression that nearly broke him. While in a treatment, he wrote a very powerful book, The Inner Voice of Love, in which he humbly and candidly shared his struggles and the efforts it took to overcome them. At the time, he left completely and overwhelmed by his wounds and obsessions that was in the edge of drawing and collapse, when the only he could do was cry. Eventually thought he found again his inner strength and emerged resilient, ready to re-enter his life with renewed energy. Remarking on what he learned from his inner collapse and his eventual return to health, he writes that in the end our hearts are stronger than our wounds. That's a powerful affirmation of the hard-earned truth, but it is always truth, and our hearts always are stronger than our wounds. Do we always have resources deep down to overcome the wounds? Sometimes yes, and in some case of Newman, but sometimes no, as we see in our broken lives so many. Sometimes it seems wounds overpower the heart. Perhaps poignant example can serve and illustrate this. There is sad, tragic, haunting line in the well-known song I Dream a Dream from the popular musical Les Miserables. The story, as we know, is based on Victor Hugo's classic book by that title, which tells the series of the stories about how poverty and oppression can break the hearts, backs, and lives of the poor. Once Hugo's character, Fantine, is a single mother, abandoned by man she loves and is nursing a broken heart. She is also struggling to provide her daughter with the basic needs of life, struggling with a job and working conditions that are ruining her health, and struggling with the sexual harassments from her boss that culminates in her unfair dismissal from the job. At a certain point, it is too much. Her health breaks, she collapses, and in her dying farewell sings out lament that suggests that our hearts aren't always stronger than our wounds, but sometimes there are storms we can not weather. Sometimes the heart cannot weather the storm and collapses under the weight of the wounds. Who is right, Newman or 14? I suspect that both are, depending on one's circumstance, inner health, and emotional resources. And old adage says, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. True enough, providing it does not kill you. Sadly, sometimes it does. Sometimes who weighs us down does not kill us. I suspect that everyone reading this has had the first hand experience of someone you know and you loved breaking down and dying either by suicide or some other collapse of this sort due to broken life, broken heart, broken psyche, and wounded that overpowered his or her heart. Thus, when we look in the truth of Newman's affirmation that our hearts are stronger, that our wounds and seeming unethical truth that sometimes our wounds can kill our heart, we need to add the further truth which embraces both sides of this. God's grace, forgivenesses, love, stronger than our wounds, our collapses, our failure, and seeming despairs. Sometimes in our struggles, we can access the inner strength buried below of our wounds, which will enable us to rise above them and will walk again in health, strength, enthusiasm. However, sometimes our wounds so paralyze the heart that we can no longer access strength that lies deep within us. In this life, that kind of brokenness can look and feel like terminal collapse and sadness for which there are no healing, despair, and wasted life. However, and whatever collusion of bitter circumstances and mental fragility break someone, when person's heart is no longer stronger, that is his or her wounds, we can take refuge in the deeper truth and consolidation, namely the strength that lies within a God's heart. God's grace, understanding, and love for stronger, they're stronger than our wounds, our collapses, our failures, seeming despairs. What set Christian faith apart from most of other religion, as well as from all prosperity gospels, and Christianity is a religion of grace and not primarily self effort important through this. As a Christians, we don't have to save ourselves. We don't have to get our lives right all in our own. Indeed, nobody even does. As St. Paul says so dearly in his farewell message in the Romans 1-8, none of us even get our lives right in the basis of our own strength. That is also true in the terms of overcoming our wounds. All of us are weak and break down sometimes. However, this is the point when the storms of life overpower us, when we reach down for strength and withstand the storm only to find out that the storm is stronger than we are, and we need to reach still deep, and there we will find that God's heart is stronger than our brokenness. Beautiful article. So, in our Orthodox Christian perspective is that we are stronger than all the temptations. May God bless you. Amen.